Thank you, Presiding Officer. To ask the Scottish Government what its response is to the Secretary of State for Scotland making an order under Section 35 of the Scotland Act 1998 preventing the Scottish Parliament's Gender Recognition Reform Scotland Bill from proceeding to Royal Assent.
Cabinet Secretary Shona Robertson.
The decision by the UK Government to make an order under Section 35 of the Scotland Act in 1998 preventing the Gender Recognition Reform Bill, which was passed with an overwhelming majority from proceeding to Royal Assent, is a dark day for trans rights and a dark day for democracy. I question why the UK Government has chosen for the very first time a Section 35 order against the clear will of this Parliament on an issue within this Parliament's competence, rather than, for example, a Section 33 if there were issues with reference to reserved matters. And I question what the implications are for future legislation of this Parliament. The Secretary of State says that he wants to find a constructive way forward, but the UK Government had multiple opportunities to provide constructive comments during the extensive consultation on the bill and during its passage, and it did not do so. It does not agree with the bill, so it has blocked it. The decision they have taken is political, and it is a sad day for democracy and for devolution. However, I want to be very clear to all trans people that I know will be incredibly upset by this decision. This Government will seek to uphold the democratic will of this Parliament. As the Statement of Reasons was only made available just over an hour ago, we will now take time to consider it fully, and I will return to Parliament to update on the next steps.
Monica Lennon.
I thank the Cabinet Secretary for her response. She is correct. The Scottish Parliament passed the GRR bill by a significant majority, and we did so because we believe that trans people should be able to live, work and die with dignity. That's what this bill is about. It's about dignity, fairness and equality for a marginalised group of trans citizens. The Secretary of State may hide behind legal advice, but the truth is the Tories at Westminster have proven that they are no friends to trans people, and as the architects of the rape clause, we know they are no friends to women and girls. So does...
Thank you.
So does the Cabinet Secretary agree with me that this is a cynical and dangerous power move by an out-of-control UK Government that is determined to wreck this bill at any cost?
Cabinet Secretary.
Yes, I would agree with that, and I think the strength of this legislation was the fact that it had support from members of all parties. Members from all parties came together to provide and support and improve the bill through the amendments that were made at both stages 2 and 3 of the bill. And I think the truth is, Presiding Officer, that whether or not the Parliament had passed this legislation in December or this month or February, I fear we would have always ended up here with a Section 35 order, because the UK Tory Government does not like this bill, does not want this bill, and will do everything to block this bill. But I want to be clear that we will do what we can to uphold the democratic will of this Parliament, and I hope that those who supported this bill will work with us and work together in order to achieve that.
Monica Lennon.
Thank you. And if I can say, I was pleased in her original response, the Cabinet Secretary set out that trans people are at the centre of this and need our support and our friendship at this time. We're seeing political reaction across the UK. Our Labour colleague, the First Minister of Wales, Mark Drakeford, rightly today said this is dangerous, and he has said this could be a slippery slope in terms of devolution. So many of us are concerned that the UK Government, who are a bad actor in this process, could strike again in terms of other legislation that we seek to pass. So it's a direct attack on self-ID for trans people, but also on Scottish devolution. What discussions can the Scottish Government have with the UK Government and with other governments to make sure that we defend our democracy and we defend devolution in Scotland and also defend people's human rights?
Cabinet Secretary.
Monica Lennon is right to point out that at the centre of this is one of the most marginalised groups in society. And this bill was designed in order to make their lives that bit better. That was all. And I think it is quite telling that Mark Drakeford has made the comments that he has about the dangers of this step and the slippery slope that could come from it, because whether it's the setting aside of the Sewell Convention or other attacks on the devolution and powers of this Parliament, and indeed that of Wales, there is clearly a pattern of behaviour here that is there for all to see. And when we hear one of the defences put forward by the Secretary of State for Scotland, that you cannot have divergent systems in the UK, well, that does rather question all of the other divergent systems that this Parliament has put in place to make the lives of people here in Scotland better. So I think it is very much a slippery slope. And as for working with others, absolutely, I want us to work together across this Parliament, but also to reach out, and we work with Mark Drakeford and the Welsh Government on a number of issues, and I would be pleased to work with him. And indeed members within the UK Parliament. I thought there were some very probing questions to what was a very thin statement with a very late, rushed out statement of reasons, which actually is also very thin. So I think we want to work across all those who want to uphold democracy and, importantly, want to improve the rights for transgender people.